Hello friends, my name is Shilpa Kakkar. I'm from M.B.Patel English Medium Secondary and Higher Secondary School. I'm back with chapter number 4, the administrative structure of the East India Company in India. In our last session, we did about the first half of the chapter. Now, in this session, we'll complete the chapter. Let us discuss what is remaining in this chapter. Judiciary. As British established police structure, army, in the same way they had adopted the judiciary also. It was a sea change in Indian history because judiciary was not same, uniform everywhere in India. That is why there was no uniform law. Warren Hastings gets the credit of starting uniform judiciary in India through the act which was introduced at the time, which was Regulating Act. He had started with the criminal and civil courts. These courts were different at different places. He had set up at different places the criminal and the civil courts. Cornwallis made significant changes in the judicial system. He established civil courts at different levels in order to make it easy to clear the judgments and give the judgments early. He wanted a quick decision for the cases which were fought at that time. Indian judges were appointed in the district courts and they were known as Munsif and Amins. Cornwallis, to make judiciary a very distinct one, he divided Bengal into 4 parts for the trial of criminal cases. The duties of collectors and judges were separated. Before that, there was no distinction between them. Actually, there was no clear judicial system at that time, and that is why trial courts were established. Not only that, Cornwallis divided the laws of Hindus and Muslims. He brought Muslim laws and made a different one. Not only that, he had brought in the English laws even in Indian judiciary. That is why they could not do justice to the Indian judiciary system because it was different from the judicial system of England. So the different courts were established at that time. This started with first with the district courts. Above the district courts, they established civil high courts. Later on, they established under the district court the registrar court. In order to distinct between the village and the city, they started lower courts also at taluka level. After that, they appointed Indians for these courts. For the lower courts at the taluka level, only Indian judges were there, and they were known as Munsif and Amins. Later on, they required the court at the local level. So, they established local courts also. This is how Cornwallis had divided the courts at city level, district level, taluka level, and at the village level. In order to maintain and make it uniform, they have established these courts. These courts helps them to get the justice to the local man, and that is why uniformity started from that period only. Before that, there were no such codes, and later on, they made many changes. William Bentinck brought the significant change in the judicial system of India. He started appointing Indians on a higher post. Not only that, he closed down the local and provincial courts and handed over the charges to the district court. All these steps were taken by William Bentinck one after the other. Later on, he decided to establish high courts. High courts were established at different places in order to make the legal procedure easier and accessible for the common man. So he established high courts at Kolkata, Mumbai, and Madras. After that, Supreme Court was established in 1773. That brought the major change in judicial system. He made changes in the legal procedures also. Existing legal procedures and legislature were cancelled by him, and he adopted the different legal procedure to make easier and accessible for common man. Indian judicial system was based on tradition and customary rituals. He brought significant changes in that also. Separate judicial systems were set up for Hindus and Muslims. But later on, all things were cancelled and a common judicial system was instituted by the British. Slowly and steadily, they brought reforms in the judicial system and the laws were codified. Through the Charter Act of 1833, everyone was declared equal before laws. And that made a change, a different type of change that came up in India. It was said that all were equal before the law, but in reality it was not so. Through this, legal system was established through law commission. But at the same time, the benefits were not earned by the local people of lower caste, the people who belong to the lower standards of the society or the common man. All these benefits were earned by the rich, by the capitalists, by zamindars, or by British only. Rule of law was established in India, and this was the rule of equality also. They said that all are equal in the eyes of law. But if we see it, originally it was not so. According to this doctrine, every human being is equal. But actually, when the cases were fought, Indians were not getting justice against the British. Even if they have to fight any case against the British, they have to go to the High Court. The High Courts were established, situated at Kolkata, Mumbai, and Madras. How could a common man reach to those places? And that is why justice was not earned by them. They were the person who suffered a lot. Poor farmers suffered a lot because of this. In fact, illiterates were not given, they did not have the idea what are their rights and how could they fight against them. No discrimination was there, it was said, but in reality, it was there. The discrimination of caste, class, and religion was there. Again, it was said that it is based on the traditional method, but in reality, Indian judicial system, which previously it was there, it was caste based only. Here, a small difference was there because it was not the caste, color, or religion. It was between Indians and the British. So whosoever went for the justice, they looked for the status. If they are the people who belong to the high strata of the society, then they get the benefit of the judiciary system, even though they were wrong. Another problem was that if the case was against British, then their cases were filed in different courts and were fought by the different judges. The hearing was done differently, and it was very expensive for the common man to fight any case against the British. It was the rule of law and equality, but in actual sense, in reality, it was not so. It was only on the papers. Let us talk about the merits and demerits of judicial system. Administrative system, police structure, military structure, judicial structure was set up by the British to bring the uniformity, to make it very proper, but it was there to strengthen the British Empire only. Just for the sake of saying it was for the Indians, for the benefit of Indians, but actually it was not. The best thing was that, which we can call it as merit, that there was a uniformity all over India because the law was codified, and that is why some benefit was there, not during that time but later on. Modern institutions were established by Indians. Actually, it was again not benefited to Indians, but still it is said that it was for the benefit of Indians. At that time, Indians were not appointed at the higher post. So, in the lower courts only, these Indian advocates were fighting the law, fighting the cases, but they were not supposed to raise to the position of judge. Europeans had different sets of laws and courts for themselves, and that was beneficial to them. None of the British got any of the severe punishment as the lower, middle, poor class of Indian society people were getting. If we say, then if it was their uniformity, if it was equal in the laws of, in the eyes of the law, everyone, then why Europeans had the different laws? Why do Europeans had to fight in different courts? So all these things proves that this law, this setup was beneficiary for the British. Indians could not seek redress against the justice of the British. There was no equality, and that is why Indians could not earn the profits, the benefits of Indian judiciary system, which was established for them. But later on, it proved that it was actually the demand of the time. Uniformity was required. There should be law and uniform law for all. It should not be discriminated. And slowly and steadily, it took the shape. Inequality was clearly visible. Moreover, the legal expenditure, the legal system was very expensive, and the cases were dragged on for years and years. Poor people could not afford it. Ignorant and illiterate Indians were out of the legal structures because they did not understand the method of dealing with the Indians. There was a lot of corruption also, and that is why Indians were not benefited because of that. Landlords started harassing farmers. Due to that, farmers did not have the courage to raise voice against the landlords. Zamindars, at one time, they were set away from all these things. But later on, slowly and steadily, as they came to know that these things are beneficial to them, so they started taking the benefit of that, advantage of that. And that is why the poor, the farmers, lower middle class, these people could not get justice. If we see, there were many demerits and compared to merits of the Indian judiciary system, which was established by the British for their own benefit, not for the benefit of India. They wanted to strengthen their empire, and that is why they enforced these laws. Slowly and steadily, some changes for the society in the social law came up. They had to fight against the customs, the rituals, the orthodoxy, the rigidity of the Indians. But if we see, then Indians were benefited at the time because of that also. So in a way, we can say there were merits and demerits of judiciary system in India, which was established by the British at the time. So friends, here we end with this chapter. We have learnt about the administrative system which was established by the British, by the East India Company in India. They set up the civil services, they set up police structure, army structure, and uniform judicial system in India. The credit goes to Cornwallis, Warren Hastings, William Bentinck for making significant changes in all these things that helped in streamlining the Indian system. I hope this session meets your expectations and it has cleared all the objectives of the chapter. See you. Bye. Thank you.